Hey guys, Chad here from CNR Reviews. We're here doing another pistol comparison today. This one is going to be with the Bersa BP9CC versus the Springfield Xds. Now both these guys are brand new for 2012, and the reason why we're doing this, if you're familiar with the XDS, they released the 45 ACP version first. This is the 45 ACP, but they are bringing out a 9mm and a 40 Smith & Wesson version. We're going to compare it today with a 9mm, and maybe you're in the market for a carry gun. You want to see what the difference is between these two. Or maybe you own something like the Springfield, or maybe you own something different, maybe the Kimber Ultra Carry, and you're looking to kind of compare on what's the benefit of maybe getting a couple more rounds with a 9mm or just going with another 45. So let's go ahead and start the comparison. How we like to do our comparisons is we compare features of the weapons. We do a size comparison, just the visual size comparison. We don't like to throw out numbers. And then we will do a loaded weight comparison, and then we'll talk about price in the end. So let's go ahead and start with the Bersa. This is Bersa's first polymer offering in the US. I have to give Bersa some kudos on the quality of the polymer. It's very nice, feels very good in your hand. It's got one of the nicest grips that I've felt, and the design of it is great. You have a Picatinny rail in the front. Has an ambidextrous magazine release, two 8-round magazines, so you have a capacity of 8+1 for a total of 9 rounds. It has pretty basic features though, no manual safety. It actually just relies on you keeping your finger off the trigger until it's time to shoot. You have the takedown pin is also the slide lock / slide release, loaded chamber indicator. It's got some unique sights. Not because they are 3-dot combat sights, but because you can replace the rear sight with a Glock sight and the front sight with a SIG sight. So that's kind of cool that they decided to do that. It's got some special locking features. You can lock up the trigger here. It's got like a little key lock, and it has a magazine disconnect. I'm not a fan of those, as you guys, if you follow our channel, know, but it is there. So you cannot engage the trigger if the mag is out and you have a round chambered. Let's talk about the trigger. I think this is the most unique part of this weapon. It's got one of the lightest triggers that I've felt on any of the subcompacts. If you push at the top of the trigger, it doesn't really move, but it's on a pivot. So if you start to pivot it down, and this really doesn't take much of a push at all, the trigger breaks right after that, once you get to the bottom. And the trigger, like I said, has got to be one of the lightest triggers I've felt on any of the subcompacts. You're looking at about 4.5 to 5 pounds maybe. And as far as reset goes, let's show you the reset. There you go. And then you're ready to engage again. So very short reset, very smooth trigger. It's going to benefit you in the fact of you'll be able to stay on target a little bit easier. But there's a safety concern there too of it being so light and not having a safety. You're going to want to make sure that you holster this gun. Do not carry it loaded, cocked, and locked in your pocket. Or should I say cocked, not locked. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the XDS. XDS is, like I said, brand new for 2012, also a polymer frame gun. This one's wearing a set of Talon grips. It's got some really aggressive stippling on there. The Talon grips help to kind of alleviate some of the aggression on the stippling, and they're also intended to give you a little bit better grip. And I think they actually do that. They do a phenomenal job. So in this case, they're usually intended just to protect and give you extra grip, but in this case it actually helps with that aggressive stippling if you don't like it. I didn't really see an issue with it, but we just wanted to try out the grips, and we like them. So other than that, as far as features go, you have a ambidextrous mag release. Actually this one came with 3 5-round magazines. So you have a capacity of 5+1. It's pretty basic. It's very much like the Kimber. You have a takedown lever here, or I'm sorry, not like the Kimber, but like the Bersa. You have a takedown lever here in the front and a slide lock. With the slide lock back, you have a loaded chamber indicator, and you have a fiber optic front sight, and then a 2-dot rear sight. And they are removable. They are adjustable. They actually give you different fiber optics if you want to replace the color, or maybe the fiber optic comes out. Other than that, awesome gun. Let's talk about the trigger. Now this trigger is going to be a safety trigger, where you have kind of a little safety on the front. that has to be pressed in before you can engage the trigger. And plus, it has a grip safety here on the back. The grip safety also has to be engaged for you to engage the trigger. So let's show you, if I don't touch the grip safety, I can't fire the gun. The moment I press the grip safety, you have a little bit of mush and then a crisp break. Now, I've heard different people. Some people like the trigger on these, some people don't. It's very Glock-like in the fact it feels like a staple gun. But it's by no means bad, but it could use a little bit of improvement. It could be a little bit smoother. And I know there are different mods out there. People are already coming up with all kinds of stuff to mess with these. But, you know, the trigger does the job. We'll just say that. Other than that, well-built gun. It also has kind of a Picatinny rail here in the front. So if you wanted to run your tack lighter laser, great. It's very similar to the Bersa. I mean, for all the features and stuff it has. Let's do a size comparison of these guns. What we're going to do is we're going to line up end to end, and we'll show you how well they compare. So as you guys can see, the Bersa is just a hair longer. Not much at all. I think it actually gives you kind of an optical illusion when you see them sitting next to each other, because the Bersa design makes it look like it's that much longer. I think part of that has to lend itself to the length of the grips. So as of right here, as you guys can see, Bersa is just a tad bit longer. As far as width goes, they are very comparable. It looks like they are almost identical, actually, as far as the width goes. Let's look at the size of the grips. Now remember, you have a capacity of 8+1 on the Bersa and 5+1 on the Springfield. So let's grip these properly. There you go. As you guys can see, of course, the Bersa grip is going to be longer. You have that much more capacity on there. And also the magazine base plate actually sticks off just a little bit. So the Bersa is going to be a little bit taller. As far as grip width goes, the Springfield is a little bit thicker. Part of that has to do with the size of the rounds. Also, it's wearing a set of those Talon grips, so it gives you an illusion that it's even bigger than what it is. So, all right, guys, let's go ahead and let's do a loaded weight comparison. We like to weigh our guns as if they were loaded. We don't like to give you an unloaded weight because that's not realistic. That's not how you carry a carry weapon. Start with the Bersa. And 8+1 capacity for a total of 9 rounds. Let's get this guy loaded up. Alright, so 9 rounds and gun and mag. It's going to run you about 24.9 ounces. That's pretty comparable with the other subcompact 9mm in the category. And 24.9 ounces for the Bersa. Alright, let's go ahead and let's do the Springfield Xds. Now, I'm assuming the 9mm one will be a little bit different in weight just because of the round. And I'm curious to see what that's going to end up being like. If we can get our hands on one, we'll definitely do some vids on it. I'm going to be using a 185 grain round. And with the Bersa, I used a 124 grain round. If you change the weight of the rounds, maybe you do the 235 grain, or maybe you do a 115 grain 9mm, or maybe 147, it's going to change the weight of the weapon. So with the Springfield, you have a capacity of 5+1 for a total of 6 rounds. With 185 grain, I'm getting a weight of 25.7 ounces. So it's a little less than an ounce heavier. Now remember, that's with 185 grain. If you throw the 230 grain up, it is going to change significantly. You're going to be up into the 26 ounce range. So as of right now with 185, it's about an ounce heavier, and that's even with a smaller gun. So that is something to think about if you are in the market. Is that going to be a huge difference? To be honest, it's a little less than an ounce. It's not that big of a difference. Is it going to weigh your pants down a little bit more? Yeah, if you can tell the difference between an ounce. The biggest difference on these guns, and what's going to depend on how well you're going to be able to carry it, is going to be the size. And as you guys can see, the size is very comparable as far as length goes, but you get that bigger grip on the Bersa. It's longer. So if you holster carry this, it's going to print a little bit more because you're going to have extra grip sticking off of your side or back or whatever. So just be aware of that. But you got to also remember, you are getting more capacity but it is 9mm and not 45. So there's all pros and cons to it. It's going to be personal choice on which way you go. I recommend going to the gun shop and getting a chance to either shoot these guys or compare them in person so you really get a good idea. Let's talk about price before we end the video. Bersa is kind of running on the cheaper side of the subcompact 9mm. It's going to run about $360 to $370, all the way up to $400. Do not spend more than $400 for the gun. If that is all you can get it for, go shop the mom and pop shops or something. A lot of times they are cheaper than the big box stores. And I paid, I want to say, around $360, $370 for it, which I think was a great deal. It compares well with a lot of the other subcompacts. It also came with 2 magazines, which is awesome for the cost. The Springfield Xds ran Ryan $503 plus tax. And so just off the bat, you're over $100 more. You do get 3 magazines. You do get a holster and whatnot that actually comes in their big, gigantic case. It is a 45, and you know, as far as quality goes, they're both top notch. So the biggest issue is going to be to have that extra money to invest in the 45, plus the cost of the round. I could get practice rounds for 9mm for around $9 a box, and the 45s run me about $16 to $18 a box, depending on where I'm buying them at. So it's just something to kind of keep an eye out. If you find them for cheap and you have 45, pick up as many boxes as you can. But the cost of even practicing with this gun is going to be considerably more than this gun. So there's a lot of pros and cons to both. If you're brand new for shooting and you're looking for your very first concealed carry weapon, make sure that you do get a chance to go to the range and try out some of these guns. That way you can get a feel of what a 45 or a 9mm feel like, and you can make a proper decision. So if you have any other questions regarding the Bersa BP9CC, want to know more about the Springfield Xds, check out our channel. We're going to have comprehensive coverage of both of them. We also have over 450 videos from weapon reviews, knife reviews, accessory reviews, and we're going to be adding a whole bunch more. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and have a good day.